Een hele goede dag. Good afternoon. I'm gonna stream this one in English, which is not my native language, so bear with me. Good afternoon. I'm going to sneak preview this new wonderful aircraft. This is the TL3000 Sirius. And it's not serious, it is serious, but it's Sirius, so like the star. It's an ultralight. Has a Rotax 912 100 horsepower engine, 3-weighted prop with movable speed. It's a 2-seater, can have some cargo in the back. Has a nice caps system, which means there's an emergency parachute should things go very wrong. Which can save your life, basically. And it's modeled in there. And it's modeled by FSReborn. And, well, this plane has a special place with me. Because, for one, I fly this type from this airfield here. Hilversum airfield. Over there you see in the back, Dwarf Flying School. That's where I rent my planes, where I learned to fly. Got my licenses. Multiple licenses. First on motor gliders, and for the past 4 years on this aircraft. And I love this little aircraft. It's sleek, it's slippery, it's fast, it's a nice cruiser, it has a good seating position. So it's a fun aircraft to use with a mate, or with my wife, girlfriend, whoever you want to go take on with you, and do a nice flight. That's it. Basically the whole model is like I know it in the real world, except for the pitot tube. That's a loose thing underneath. I think nowadays the pitos are all integrated in the wing, so this for me is kind of an eyesore. Bad. This repaint, I chose this repaint. This is still in a release candidate state, so it's not out yet for Microsoft Flight Sim. It will be very soon, probably, let's say 2 maximum 3 weeks. Maybe you've noticed I've yelled this out on my Instagram and Discord. I'm not streaming for a while, and this is because my parents are ill. Both of them. In 1 week I heard my mother is going through Alzheimer. And basically, not getting better, of course, but getting worse very rapidly. This I saw coming. But in the same week, I heard that my father has lung cancer. That's basically it. So he's still in all kinds of tests and phases and stuff, but it's being somewhat of a roller coaster now. With me trying to figure out the new stuff that is life. That's basically it. So this repaint is having feelings for me, and I'm not streaming for a while, so no races, no flying, because I'm not up to it, and that's it. But for this one I'm making an exception. So let's see. This is, well, like I said, it's a very nice aircraft. It has a good speed, it has a good performance, and it's very sleek. You know, it's a high winger. Gives me Cessna memories. There's a lot of Cessnas over here, but they are bulky and they are made of metal. This one is made of carbon fiber, which makes it light. The whole aircraft is light. What's the word? The con of this, of course, is that carbon fiber, when it rips, it's done. So if this thing ever crashes or takes a real hit, then it basically becomes a wreck. While with steel, of course, or at least aluminium, you can replace parts more easily. But that's the way of ultralights. In single engine piston land, I don't think anything has happened since the Cirrus SR22. Nothing much. What you see in airfields around the world is aircraft that are in design 50 to 60 years old, and in manufacture anywhere between 70 and 20 years old. In ultralight land there's a huge amount of development going on, because this is the future. For me, this is the future of personalized flying. Is cheap. Aircraft are relatively cheap, but they perform just as well as their single engine prop variants. Those are distinctions in flight licenses. So you have a microlight flight license, or LSA in the USA. You would call it light sports aircraft license, and you have the single engine piston aircraft. It's just weight. It's the same as motorcycles. Here in the Netherlands we have motorcycle licenses that go to a certain range of weight of the motorcycle, and you need a heavier license to drive a heavier motorcycle. It's basically the same. So with a microlight license, which I have in the real world, I cannot fly by law a single engine piston, but of course it's silly because it's both acting the same, they react the same, they fly the same, etc, etc, etc. Okay, this is the outside stuff. Really cool details. The refueling points on both wings. It has 2 tanks, 1 in each wing, and each wing can carry 65 liters. So that's 130 liters in total. The engine is quite, it's 100 horsepower with speed setting on the prop, meaning it will burn in cruise around 16 liters an hour. So if you have 135 with you, that's basically 10 hours of flight that you can get out of the little one. Then I guess the seats won't be as comfortable as when you started, but hey, it's the little aircraft that could, you know. That's the, you won't get 10 hours out of a Cessna 172, not on your own, and certainly not with people and luggage on board, because if you put those on board, then you have to basically take less fuel with you, so it cuts into your range. This has none of that. Max weight is 600 kilograms. It used to be 472 or even 450 in legislation, which was a bit silly because that meant that with yourself and fuel you could take a hamster with you in weight. That's a bit silly. So they pulled it up to 600, sorry. And it used to be 450 and 472.5 with if a parachute, emergency parachute was implemented. So now it's 600, which is in real life a bit nicer. Okay, insides. The details like this, they are exactly as I know them from my aircraft, with some exceptions. First, this is a autopilot panel. You wouldn't normally see this in a microlight, but it was implemented in here for user convenience. The rows of buttons are up here. I fly 2 models of this aircraft. The Papa Hotel 4 Hotel 1, which is a 80 horsepower aircraft with a fixed prop, and it has non-glass instruments, and all these switches are down here. And the 4 Tango 7, Papa Hotel 4 Tango 7, which has the same engine as this, and the variable speed prop, which has these switches over here, but also normal steam gauges. So of course instrumentation can vary. I said earlier about the fuel. You have a tank gauge here and a tank gauge over there. Notice it goes up to 20, while the tanks, I told you, are 65. So only the last 20 liters are shown here. Which is fine, because if each are up there, then that's 40, so you still have 2.5 hours of flight in you, so no biggie. Let's look at the door. Normally you would just slam the door and then it's locked like a car latch, and then you put this in front of it, which puts out pins on the back and on the front, and also keeps you from pulling the latch to open the door, so it's two-way. That's a bit difficult to program. So what they did at FSReborn is, see it moving. When it gets all the way to the other side, then you close it. Now, notice the sounds. The sounds are all recorded at Hilversum Airport from the aircraft I actually fly, the Papa Hotel 4 Tango 7. So all these sounds are very familiar to me. They sound a bit different than the Hotel 1 because that's what aircraft do. All is plastic and carbon, so it all has a different clang when some kind of one of the hinges is just a millimeter apart. You know, you get kind of different, but it's all very good, very nice. So you have 2 seats here. Normally this is a where you keep your keys and other small items. You can't open that, but that's fine. It's just a lid basically, and you can put some baggage in the back over there. In real life, you have this thing here, the emergency parachute. There's a pin in here that says do not pull, do not remove, to prevent it from actually pulling because you think it's a handbrake or something. We're gonna try this later. This is for saving yourself when you're not able to land on any field. This being the Netherlands, there's plenty of fields and there's plenty of training going around for me to, you know, if you get engine trouble or other kind of troubles, then you can just land over there and be safe. But in case of mountains, forests, and other stuff that will, well, ruin your day when you're going down, then you can basically pull this one and an explosive rocket from the back here blows out and deploys a parachute, and then it lets you float down. This is detrimental to the aircraft. Normally when you do this in real life, you say goodbye to the aircraft. The damage will be too extensive, but you will live and walk away to fly another day. That's basically it. Okay, other stuff. Let's see. I can click away this yoke here, and of course we have we have some brakes. Yeah, all very nice. There's a little thing in the gadget here. You see this here? This round stuff. This is basically the vent, the air vent. Tango 7 has a sliding window over here. 4 Hotel 1 has 2 of those round thingies that you can cross to. They're not in here. What is in here is this vent. If I pull this, you see this. You see this opening. So you can set this at a rate where you want it in the real aircraft and here. And it'll give some wind noise, of course, because it's behind the prop. But basically, it gives you fresh air in the cockpit. Over here, we also have seat heaters. I don't know if these in the real aircraft, but they are nice and they are here. We also have a cabin heater and a cold start engine choke. Cabin heater is nice. Although in Tango 7 it only blows at the pilot, so if you have an instructor or a passenger with you, you'll be cold. But it works fine. Okay, let's see. What I'm gonna do, this is the detailing. I like it very much. And what I'm gonna do is take off from Hilversum. We're in fair weather, and we fly first to Loosdrechtse. I can show it here. Visualize. Normally I go out of the circuit. This is my normal go-to waypoint because of the shape of the island. It points towards Hilversum Airport, so that's nice. So you also always know your bearing. But basically I always start my navigation from here. I go a bit north, then over Hilversum to this freeway overpass. And then I take a bearing of 90 over Nijkerk, town Nijkerk, and then follow the highway until this one, near the city of Apeldoorn, and then we join the circuit to land at Teuge, EHTE Airport. Short flight, just to see what this aircraft can do, and show some stuff. We'll be around 1500 feet. Nominally, I would do this at 1200, but from, let's say, this part here and eastward we couldn't go higher because here is Schiphol Amsterdam. So in this area we can only go 1500 maximum. in real life, meaning I'll usually adhere to 12 to 1300 and not more to keep a little margin for myself. But we'll see. We'll see. So, plenty nice aircraft to do visuals. Right. Normal. Oh, no, I'm gonna do this one first. Because we have an EFP. This is all nice because we have pitot cover and chocks that we can put on. We have some stuff about bulbs, battery, and tire status. And you can do stuff with this. If it's too hard or too soft, you could, well, get a flat tire. It's modeled. Blow them really hard and go then really high, then the tire could burst in the air because of the pressure differential. Very cool. Of course, you can turn this off and on and off. If you want to, you can turn it on or off. Engine failures, engine wear and tear, engine oil changes, engine coolant changes, and landing gears, tire stuff, and electrical stuff. You can turn this off and just make it a, well, easy aircraft that will never fail on you. Or you can turn this on and abuse it extensively and pay the price. your choice. Pick your poison. You can do some engine management. Can top up the cooling, can top up the oil. It's all empty now, of course. And we have some stuff here on fuel. Why is this on gallons? I do not like the gallons. I want this, and I want this, and I want this. These are the settings, like I said. I can reset this all. And I'm gonna put this at 1, 1, 1, 1. So the wear and tear speed, you can basically accelerate it. If it's 16, then, well, it wears very fast. And this is, of course, realistic. Auto position EFB camera. No, yes. Ballistic rescue system. If I pull the camera, will the camera change? Or pull the parachute, will the camera change? Yes. Don't want to co-apply it? No. And this is it. I want European stuff. Nominally, nautical miles will be the one, but as you'll see, the speedo and stuff will be in knots. And over here we have some speedo also in knots, I think. Not sure, RPM. Yeah, the aircraft I flew, they have units in kilometers an hour. So, whatever it is. So, normal takeoff rotation speed is 80 kilometers an hour, so that's 45 knots. And normal approach speed and flaps down would be 130 kilometers an hour, which is around 70 knots. So, keep that in mind, nothing special. Okay, fuel weight. Now we have 23 here and 13 over here. Let's keep it like that. Bit of luggage. Only myself. I'm not that heavy. Okay, 82 is fine. And my bag. And that's around it. An FAQ. Extensive here. Yeah, that's it what it is. Okay, so if we're done here, then we can just click here and then it's away. Nice. Okay, let's fire this baby up. Battery on. Instruments on. Navigation on. I'm gonna take the right tank. And I'm gonna start the pump. No, wait. I'm gonna take. Listen to me. Off. If I start the fuel pump. You hear it, right? And you don't see fuel pressure here. Now, wait for it. Hear the sound? It takes heavier because it's not pumping air, it's pumping fuel.
Okay.
And you see the fuel coming up, and you see the light burning, so you see that the pump is working and that the fuel pressure is coming up. Which is good. Okay. We have a cold engine. So RPM forward. Throttle closed. And we used the pump already. I'm gonna pull the choke. And I'm gonna start. Clear prop. putting some RPM. Oh, I'm used to a parking brake, but it's not modeled. And put her back to 2000 RPM. So choke closed, 2000 RPM. If you keep the choke open, it will the engine will wobble. It won't shut down, but it will run very uneven. Yeah, let's do it. Strap on also. What do I see? I see temperature going nice. This is in Fahrenheit. I don't know how if I can change that. This is in inches. I don't know if I can change that. I'm not into these kind of systems, so I can put my transponder on. 7000 is okay. Nominally I would see millibars here and not inches in mercury, but like I said, I don't know how to change that. Not going into that now. I will find this out. For now this is okay. Because this airfield is basically just above sea level, 7 feet. So you see already that in this air pressure we are standing correct here. I like this sound because I know this sound. This is cool. Okay, what I said earlier on the parking brake, this aircraft has no parking brake models. In the real aircraft, same thing like this, the pulley thing is underneath the seat here. So when you press the brake, it's hydraulic brakes, so you put hydraulic pressure on the lines and then you pull that little knob. I'm pushing, pointing with my finger, the little knob over here. Nominally then you close a valve, meaning that the pressure holds and you have a parking brake. That's basically it. Okay, let's taxi to runway. We have no wind today, so I'm taking runway 18 to the south. This is something about, well, which I don't like, but which is not the fault of the aircraft. The steering. It's basically something you can do with your pedals. Normally this aircraft has a steerable nose wheel which goes about 4 or 5 degrees, so it's wide, it's a wide angle. So anything that you want to turn more steeply, more strongly, you use your differential braking on your pedals. But when I steer this is not 5 degrees. This is way more than 5 degrees. So yeah, it is what it is. You can do some with your pedal settings, but this is something that is sim-wise, so to speak. Okay, let's do an engine check. 3500 RPM. And we do the mag check. Right, both, left, both. We both see a drop of 50 to 100 RPM and the engine doesn't quit, which is a good thing. Engine completely low, engine doesn't quit, which is a good thing. If I steer that way, this guy goes up, this side goes down. If I steer the other way, this guy's up, this shows down. And the rudder I also see, and the elevator I also see. Notice the tab there, there's a tab there on the left. Elevator, the trim tab, it's only on one, and it has cables. Those cables have to be taut. That is something that you do on the outside checks. We didn't do that, but okay, it's fine. What do I have to do now? Oh my god. And the flaps. We have 2 flap settings here. That's the same as in the Papa Hotel 4 Tango 7. For Hotel 1 it's 3 flap settings. Listen to the sound. it's different going up and down. Here, that's because of the weight. It's an engine. It's an electric engine motor thing. We use number 1 for takeoff. We use number 1 in downwind, and we go to full and final when we land. For now, this is what we use. Landing light for just one thing, and the pump for good measure should our engine driven pump fail while we take off. We have a left circuit here, so what I do, this is normal practice on Hilversum Airport, make a left turn. This way we can check, is there something in the downwind pattern? Is there something on the base pattern? And is there something on the final? Nothing. So now we are clear to taxi onto the runway and take off. You see this angle of taxi, this is what I'm not used to. I'm not saying I don't like it, but it is way more than the actual aircraft has. So you see that I'm already overcorrecting. Okay, we're on the runway. Full throttle. And we should take 8500 RPM. Yes, we have a speed check. 45 already. Jump up, baby. Take a bit of prop off. And we keep around 70-75 as our takeoff speed. At 200 feet we pull in flaps. And circuit altitude here is 700 feet, so we're gonna go to 700 and then pull back. Go on the crosswind like, and then 45 degrees out, and we are out of traffic. There's our island, first waypoint. Back to full power. Watch the climb speed, take a good climb speed at around 75 knots. (1200 feet). Level off. Pull back to 4800 RPM. Trimmer out. Pump can go off, landing lights can go off, and here we are. I can tell you, you have to believe me, the sound of this is completely true to life. It's scary how at home I feel in this little bird. As we are over our navigational point. There it is. Let's head north. Over the Loosdrechtse plassen, as they are called. This used to be land, but it's in the old days peat was used for fuel burning, so peat was stuck out here. Eventually that turned into a bog and then to a lake. And all these long islands here, this is where the peat was stored. See it over there? So a bit of history on the Netherlands. So while we're here, this is a nice training area. I have trained here a lot. And what I'm going to do now is, let's see for a flat spall test. So I'm pulling throttle. And of course, it's not the idea to lose altitude. So I'm basically pulling and pulling and pulling on my yoke. Stall is coming. She becomes wobbly.
Stall, 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 stall.
And dropping the nose. Put in some throttle. Recover. Back to 1200. This is nice. Meanwhile, I'm turning towards Hilversum and Nijkerk. What I'm gonna do now, take off throttle again. There's a very relaxed stall, you know, no wing dropping kind of antics, nothing bad, so to speak. Okay, flaps 1 in the safe speed, and flaps 2. I'm pulling throttle completely. Let's not lose altitude. She should stall at around 35-37 knots, but she will not drop the nose. Well, that's what I expect. So the lift is great. She becomes completely wobbly on the controls.
Stall, 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 stall.
We will go down.
Stall, 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 stall.
But you see this?
Stall,
My yoke is
stall,
completely
stall,
pulled,
stall,
and I'm not
stall,
stalling
stall,
out.
Stall.
Isn't that great?
Stall, stall.
Enter some throttle. Flaps up. Flaps completely up. Let's get some speed in her. And now back to cruise setting at 4800 RPM. Really nice. This is exactly as the real world. So crossing over Hilversum town. Like I said, we have an autopilot, but I'm not using it. I never do in real life as well because it's not in air. And this is the normal view. You can look very well down because the sides are flat and a bit of coming back, you know, a bit of going inward. So the window is basically a bit pointing out. Gives her a very good visibility, and of course it's a high wing, so with a high wing you can look down very well. If you look at the Sting, the other ultralight that FSReborn made, that's a low wing, also a fantastic little bird. That gives you a very spacious room outside because you have a big bubble canopy, but of course a low wing, so the visibility on the ground is somewhat less. All in all, I think I'm a high wing guy because I like sightseeing. But I've flown low wing as well. It's all good. Flying is flying. So on cruise setting, slightly low on RPM. Normally it should be around 4800. You see that we're doing 100 knots. So that's 180 kilometers an hour. And she's stable as a rock. If I pull this one, you hear the intake, you hear the wind. And the more you put it, the more wind sound you have, of course. In the summer, very nice to use this one. Over Nijkerk, should be here, yeah. Oh, not Nijkerk, the highway overpass, that's the word. That's Nijkerk over there. Normally I can see that very well because in the middle of Nijkerk there's a big animal food factory. So for cattle food, that's the word, not animal, cattle food. It's a very big white square box building, very high, tall building. So that's easily recognizable whenever well, you have visibility, and if the sun is out, then it's really visible. That's of course not in the sim, but I know from art this is Nijkerk. Those are the edge lakes, as we call them, Flevo, Meer, Flevo, and over there is Flevoland province with all those windmills. Very nice. Fun thing is, I've never, well, never. It's been a long time since I've been at Teuge. Could easily be 10 years or something that I've flown to Teuge, because it's so in short proximity of Hilversum. Normally in real life I fly to Midden-Zeeland, which is way to the south, near the coast, and Texel Island, which is all the way to the north of the Netherlands. For this flight I thought, well, let's take the short one. You can see it's perfectly stable, doing slight alterations on the yoke and on the rudder, same as in real life. It does require very little input, so if you're new to these kinds of aircraft, you may find it squirrely because it's very easy to over control them. But if you take small measurements, small inputs, then it purrs like a kitten. Very, very, very real life, very cool. Still can't get over that Pikachu though. So coming up on Nijkerk, and from there you go all the way here to Apeldoorn. This being a microlight means acrobatic maneuvers including spins are prohibited. It doesn't mean that the aircraft cannot do it, it's just that it hasn't been tested for it from a strength perspective. We know that honeycomb fiber and carbon fiber is very strong, so there's no doubt that it can do aerobatics, but it's not certified to do it because it hasn't been tested accordingly. So that said, would you do inverted flight? I'm not going to do it, but I'm just going to tell you. The Rotax 912 engine has a carburetor with a normal flow top, meaning there's no fuel injection. And if I'm getting a stutter or halt, whatever is this. Come on, little sim, don't crash on me. I'm just gonna finish my story. Negative G's impact fuel input in the carburetor. So if you there it is again. If you would do inverted maneuvers, if you would do negative G's, the engine will cut out. This is normal behavior of any carburetor driven engine, because basically the negative G's mean that the fuel mixture doesn't leave the carburetor into the combustion chamber but piles up. So there. This is Nijkerk, and normally around this river here in the middle there's a very big, large, tall white building from the cattle field feed people, but now there isn't. So we're continuing on our heading. To the city of Apeldoorn, and on the south of it we take the traffic highway overpass, the Cloverleaf, and then do an entry into Teuge. This feels so good. This feels so home. You know, you don't have the normal flying sense, of course, the seat of your pants feeling of the aircraft dancing on the waves of air and well, you dancing with it. But from a handling perspective, it's spot on. Put the one back. And I like it. It's a nice touring aircraft. It's in real life as well. It's just a nice aircraft to fly. Very forgiving. And that also makes it quite suitable to be used as a trainer aircraft. I started flying on touring motor gliders, first on a Diamond Super Dimona, basically a long wing derivative of the A20 Katana, and then I switched and I went flying with Dwarf on SF25 motor Falcus, German motor gliders, 1950s design, very old school but very hands-on flying, and this was really cool. They are old design aircraft, but they're very sturdy, very cool, with a central gear and two support wheels under the wings, but they also get you nowhere very fast because they cruise at 130 kilometers an hour, so that's 70 knots basically as cruising speed, which is silly slow. So if you really want to go enjoy the world flying, then you need at least 100 knots. That's my personal opinion. And this aircraft delivers 100 knots. So that's why I transferred basically. As you can see, very stable. Hands off the yoke. It just has a slight yaw tendency to the right due to the turning of the prop. With a slight movement on the yoke and a slight movement on the rudders. She really is a kitten. No vices. Coming over a wooded area, the Veluwe area. Big nature area in the center of the Netherlands. Lots of lakes, lots of forests, lots of sand, and some farms. This pitot tube. You may have noticed there is no pitot heat. This is correct. This aircraft is normally not flown IFR, even if it has the G3X stuff and the autopilot here, so you can fly this IFR, but there's no active de-icing system, there's no pitot heating system. It's not implemented in the real aircraft, so it's not in this aircraft. Meaning, if you go into clouds with freezing temperatures, you may run the risk of your pitot getting clogged for the rest of your flight, or until you get into lower and warmer air layers. This will mean your airspeed will go dead. This will mean that your altimeter will not show what your actual altitude is. So be aware of that. This is a microlight aircraft primarily used for visual flight rule flying, and treat it as such. By all means set autopilot, by all means go to 10,000 feet if you wish. There's no oxygen aboard for you and your passenger, so above 10,000 is not advisable. Just keep in mind the systems that you may normally use on the somewhat larger single engine piston aircraft, like the A2A Comanche for instance, are not on this aircraft. So This could end your day badly. Just so you know. Don't think this is working yet. Maybe it will be. With the rocking of the wings, that the fuel gauges play around until the fuel has settled again in the wing. Now they're quite steady. This is the kind of stuff that I recorded. That's probably also gonna come in. I'm not sure if it's if the base sim supports it or not. If it supports it, then probably Ro will put it in at some case, but it's not in now. At some point. We're going. Let's look a little nav map. Oh, we're almost there. Like I said, short hop. Normally this is like 20, 25, maximum 30 minutes. So when we get to the city of Apeldoorn, which is here ahead, then we focus on the cloverleaf, and to the north of that is the airport. So I'm gonna do a normal pattern of a downwind and the base and the final leg. Of course, all the Microsoft checklist stuff, all the automated checklist stuff is in. I'm not using it because I know the checklist of this by heart, but trust me, it's in. So if you use the checklists in Microsoft Flight Sim to get you started up, flying, onto an approach, etc., etc., it's all in. When we reach our point and go for a downwind, then I'll take the pump on, I'll take the landing lights on, and I'll slow some speed to get to 70 knots, so I can lower flaps to notch 1. Then fly the downwind leg, then watch the runway as it passes 45 degrees behind me, so roughly around the edge of the door. No, that's even, no, in between the strut and the edge of the door. That's 45 degrees behind. Then I will turn a base, and also basically cut throttle almost completely, and then we turn final and we just fly her in and take full flaps. That's the plan. Here's the city of Apeldoorn. Nice city in the middle of the Netherlands. As you can see, lots of nature around it, so live on the edges, very nice. Bit off course, a bit of compensation to the left, and look at this beauty. You know, it's only 100 knots that she flies, but she does it so well, and it's really slippery and fun to fly her. Doesn't slow down easily, so you have to be very mindful of your speed before you go down. Slow down before you go down, that's basically the message. Great view. Such a solid, nice aircraft to fly. I really love this one. Not only the sim iteration and the fact that I was asked to participate in looking at the flight model and all kinds of niggles and features of the real aircraft, but also the real aircraft. I really love flying this aircraft in real life. Normally highway overpasses aren't the greatest visual helpers. So let's see. highway should be on my right. Ah, there it is. So this is the highway. If I follow that, then I come across the flyover. Some bridges here. I think this is it. Yeah, I think this is it. So the airport should be over there. I haven't flown this actually, so maybe I will get it. Yeah, this looks like it. That building over there has all kinds. It's a logistics company, and it has all kinds of red containers on the parking. It's not in the sim, of course, but it's nice to know. So I'm gonna turn north-ish. I'm gonna drop down to 1,000 feet. Already did a bit. Already smuggled a bit. 1,000 feet is the pattern altitude for Teuge. That's the company there with the red containers. So a bit off. Doesn't matter too much. And there's the runway. I can see the runway over there. The buildings and the runway. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is take a left downwind of the runway, the westward runway. I think it's a 09er. No, 27, of course, 27. So here we are. And here we go. Gonna head east. There's our runway. Putting some throttle to get it to slow down, not go down. So have to put a little yoke in order to just slow down and not go down yet. And as soon as we say hit 70 knots, flaps 1, landing lights on, pump on. Our landing field is roughly 45 degrees behind us now. Landing point where I want to land, taking a bit further. Turning base. Normally when you turn final you should be around between 500 450 feet. So that's what we're aiming at. Eyes on the runway. Very well. And full flaps. Hear the drag, feel the drag also. But also the lift that it's giving me, because now I'm very slowly descending. Gonna try to reduce my speed to, let's say, 50 knots. 60 knots, 60 knots is good. And then pull her towards the runway. Pitch full fine on the prop. Pull it towards the runway with the throttle. Here we are, over the bars, cutting throttle. And remember that slow stall speed, so she's gonna glide, Keep her flying, keep her flying. Keep direction with the rudder. Keep her flying. Keep her flying. Keep flying. See how she goes? Keep her flying. Keep her flying. Keep her flying. No, we didn't even hear that touchdown. That was smooth as silk. And here we are. Okay, as soon as we're on the runway, after landing checks, flaps up. Landing lights off, pump off, and transponder off. Or on standby. Well, I can't do off, so it's standby. The old style stuff in my normal cockpit, it's off. And we taxi off. And here's the restaurant. I'll park here next to the restaurant. Yeah, why not? It's easy because you have a gate here and you can just cross the gate and walk into the restaurant from where you park her. No parking brake, as I said. Stop. Stop. Oh, that's very close. Okay. Instruments off. I did the main. That's stupid. Contact off. That sound. Lights off. Why are you hopping around? And mains off. Then you tell your passenger to get out. You tell yourself to get out. And what you did here is cross a red line, which is not good. But okay, sorry. You get out. You take your keys with you. And you can enjoy a nice lunch in the sun in the restaurant while watching your beautiful aircraft. And after that you fly back home. This is the FSReborn TL3000 Sirius, and it's a very nice rendition of the actual aircraft, which I know so intimately well. Very cool, very nice. This is a sneak preview, it's not out yet. It will be coming out for MSFS 2020 within a couple of weeks. I'd say 2 or 3 weeks if my information is correct. And for those of you wondering, yeah, but this is for MSFS 2020 and 24 is coming out. True. If you buy this one, you'll get the 2024 version with all the added stuff that 2024 supports, which isn't in 2020, for free. So, no brainer, right? I don't know the pricing by heart, but I know that it is very okay. It's a very okay pricing. I don't know it for sure, and your mileage may vary due to conversions in your own home currency. But yeah, watch it. It's really good, really good. I'm gonna hop back to Hilversum, but I'm not gonna do that on the stream. Thank you guys for watching, and girls for watching, and have a lovely afternoon. And by all means, when it comes out, go check this out. It's really worth it. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.